Evening, folks. Today, Sunday, the 18th day of May, 2025, is the 45th. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. The 45th anniversary eruption of Mount St. Helen in Washington State. Not Washington, D.C., a swamp, drained the swamp, but Washington State, beneath British Columbia, above Oregon and State, and just west of, behind Idaho. They grow the big potatoes. Anyway, they grow them big there. They take and was the largest natural explosion in the 20th century. We had Krakatoa, and would have been 1800s, okay, late 1800s. The people in, I'm recording from Tracadie, County, Nova Scotia, and they take, and that said, people damn near starved that year. It was the year without summer. There was so much, I was in Indonesia, so much ash went up in the air that there was, it was cool, and the seeds on your broad beans and peas and corn and yellow beans and monastery beans and other stuff didn't develop and didn't have seed to plant the garden next year. They damn near starved. He said, I don't believe in climate change, by the way. I do not believe in the climate changes, the will of God. But I do not believe, I qualify this, on man-made climate change. The amount of trees we have in this nation of Canada is unreal. That we should have a carbon tax, it's fucking nuts. I'm going to repeat that. It's fucking nuts that there's a carbon tax in Canada with the billions and billions of trees that are taking in carbon all the time. Greatest carbon storage thing that ever been invented is the trees that God made that grow so wonderfully. Now, back to Mount St. Helen. Interestingly, it was on a Sunday morning, the 18th of May of 1980, and I distinctly remember that. And that summer was a cool summer, because that was then the 25th anniversary of the Cancer Causeway, and it was a cool spring, and it was a cool summer. And that's in Nova Scotia. We're in the next to Newfoundland, the most easterly part of North America. So Mount St. Helen in Washington State is about the most westerly part of continental United States. So that was the amount of ash went up in the air. And I repeat, I do not believe in man-made climate change. I can distinctly remember reading Time magazine and other publications back in the late 60s, early 70s. They were talking about global cooling. Global cooling. Now they're talking about, come here, kitty cat, global warming. Okay? This kitty cat wants to get a picture, don't you? There, say hello to the people. There. Say hello. You're a pretty kitty cat. Lovely kitty cat. Anyway, even kitty cat agrees that kitty cat doesn't think much of climate change. Okay, so-called climate change. There's some people, everything is climate change. They take in it and they get a cold as climate change. If something happens, it's climate change. I mean, the world doesn't operate like that. Everything is climate change. Well, there's more to it than that. Okay, now, with that, the kitty cat had another cameo appearance. I gotta go. So it's the 45th anniversary of Mount St. Helen explosion on Sunday, which was the 18th day of May of 1980, 45 years ago today. And if had it happened on a weekday, there would have been hundreds of loggers on the sides of the mountains, and there was 57 people lost their lives that day. But the thing collapsed. It didn't explode up. It collapsed, and the magma went out of it, and like that there. Now, that happens apparently sometimes in volcanoes. I didn't realize that volcanoes collapse, and then the magma starts shooting out different sprouts. So you have a series of volcanoes, and that's why there was so much ash. But it affected the climate, but made it cooler. And we're having a cool, long weekend in Nova Scotia right now. This must be climate change. Must be climate change. It's cool rather than warm. With that, I gotta go. Thank you very much. All the best. God bless. Bye for now.